is a video presentation of distillation of biodiesel at reduced pressure, generally referred to as vacuum distillation. Analytical Services Method 42. Vacuum distillation is a process that determines the volatility characteristics of a fuel by gradually boiling the fuel under reduced pressure. The vacuum distillation specification ensures the fuel has not been adulterated with high boiling contaminants. The vacuum distillation method described here is based on this official method. This test method is used only for biodiesel that can be partially or completely vaporized at a maximum liquid temperature of 400 degrees Celsius at a reduced pressure. Before attempting this technique, it is mandatory to read the test method in its entirety. This presentation is simply an overview or a summary of vacuum distillation. Many technical definitions are explained in the test method, and it is imperative that the analyst be familiar with the terminology that pertains to vacuum distillation in advance. The good laboratory practices associated with safety and personal protective equipment represented in this video are simply the safety requirements of the FAPC Analytical Services. We urge you to determine what specific good laboratory practices and particular safety requirements are necessary for your own method application. Some of the recommended guidelines include: follow safety precautions at all times. Consult the material safety data sheet for detailed information on the chemical substances related to the method. Wear the appropriate personal protective equipment for handling chemicals and instrumentation. Record data at the time of observation. The equipment required for vacuum distillation includes: vacuum distillation unit. The system must be capable of performing and maintaining all specifications of the test, including temperature, reduced pressure, distillation range, accuracy, and measurement frequency as described in ASTM D1160. The FAPC Analytical Services uses the D1160 Semi-Automatic Vacuum Distillation Unit by BR Instrument Corporation. The reagents required for vacuum distillation include: hexadecane to verify that the apparatus is functioning accurately and properly, approximately 1 liter of sample, toluene for cleaning, silicone grease, dry ice, and acetone. The materials required include disposable pipettes, analytical balance, cork ring, distillation flask, boiling chips, distillation receiver, joint clamps, a 1 liter glass beaker or a largemouth glass container, tongs, and a scooper. Protective equipment includes disposable gloves, thermal gloves, safety eyewear, and a lab coat or apron. Before a sample can be analyzed, the specific gravity must be determined. The specific gravity allows us to calculate the mass of sample that is equal to 200 milliliters, which is the volume required for vacuum distillation. Furthermore, the specific gravity must be measured at the same temperature as the set point of the distillation apparatus receiver. The temperature used in this method is 35 degrees Celsius. For the specific gravity determination, please refer to Analytical Services Method 46. Extreme caution must be exercised with the use of the distillation apparatus. Special precautions include: all parts of the distillation apparatus can get very hot when in use, especially near the distillation flask and the receiver. Allow all parts to cool before touching or cleaning. Fluids such as biodiesel, petroleum, crude oil, solvents, reagents, and water should not be spilled on the surface of the heating mantle. Equipment failure may occur. Check the condenser bath level. The level should be maintained above the coil inside the bath. Verify that a clean receiver is in place and empty. The metal drip trough should be pointing directly to the front of the unit and should also be touching the side of the receiver. This ensures the distillate will travel down the front wall of the receiver and will not drip, causing splashes. Verify the receiver joint is greased. Check the vacuum pump oil level. It should be near the high mark. Open the M690 software. The M690 instrument control unit power should be in the on position. The vacuum pump power switch should be in the on position. Once everything is on and functioning properly, a standard or a sample can be analyzed. If a system check is desired, normal hexadecane can be analyzed periodically using the hexadecane 10.run method. Follow the same procedure used for samples. The approximate atmospheric equivalent temperature range on the report should be between 285 and 290 degrees Celsius for the distillation range. To calculate the mass of sample to be weighed to equal the required volume of 200 milliliters at the receiver temperature of 35 degrees Celsius, multiply the measured specific gravity by 200. Weigh this mass of room temperature sample into the distillation flask. Add 5 to 10 boiling chips to the sample. Lubricate the spherical glass joints of the distillation apparatus with silicone grease. Make certain that the surfaces are clean before applying the grease and use only the minimum quantity required. Connect the flask to the lower spherical joint of the distilling head. Place the heater under the flask. Put the top mantle in place and secure the flask and receiver using the spring clamps at the spherical joints. Insert the temperature sensor into the thermowell of the flask. Wrap the heat collar gently around the distillation flask and secure it with its laces. Fill the cold trap with small pieces of dry ice, then add acetone to approximately 2/3 full. This step is merely a safety precaution to isolate volatiles that might be present in the sample and should not be used to quantify the low end of the distillation. Select the Start Distillation button on the main software screen. A window will appear for method selection. Select the appropriate method for the type of sample to be analyzed. When analyzing biodiesel, select the biodiesel.run method. The required parameters have been programmed in the test methods. Because the necessary test methods have been established in the software, they should not be changed without an advanced understanding of the distillation unit and software. Another window will appear that reads Enter Sample ID for D1160 distillation. The file name will already be filled in with the default entry that is a combination of the date and the run sequence. Do not change the name, but record it as a reference to access the data at a later time. A third window will appear that reads Enter Operator ID for D1160 distillation. Enter the name of the analyst in the blank. The distillation will begin immediately. The pause or abort keys should only be selected if it is absolutely necessary to stop the distillation. The distillation may take an hour or more to run completely. As the run progresses, distillation percentages and temperatures will appear in the chart on the screen. When the sample distillation is complete, lower the heating mantle and allow all parts of the unit to cool completely before disassembling. Do not turn off any of the instrument components. Everything will go into a standby mode automatically. The calculations are automated by the M690 software. No manual calculations are necessary. A table will appear on the computer screen that includes the various distillation percentages with the corresponding temperatures. There are various report options for viewing and printing within the software. The software button titles for the various reports are self-explanatory. For example, the standard specification for biodiesel is 360 degrees Celsius max at T90. That means when 90% of the sample has been distilled or collected by the receiver flask, the vapor atmospheric equivalent temperature must be less than or equal to 360 degrees Celsius. To view results in a format for this specification, go to the View Print Results from the main menu. Then select either Print Volume Results or View Volume Results. In the Volume column, look at the 90% line. In the next column to the right, there will be a corresponding temperature next to the percentage. If the temperature is less than or equal to 360 degrees Celsius, then the biodiesel tested meets the specification in this example. Report the results in degrees Celsius. To properly clean the instrument, add 200 milliliters of toluene and 5 to 10 boiling chips to a clean and dry distillation flask. Reassemble the apparatus as if a sample is being analyzed using a clean and dry receiver. Select the Start Cleaning Run button on the main software screen. For further details, please refer to Analytical Services Method 42.